So yeah, doctor says it's going to be a long recovery.
Dude, I'm so sorry to hear that. And then my car broke down right after.
And this all happened after you broke the mirror?
Yeah. Hey guys, what's up?
Noah's mom fell and broke her back, man.
Oh, no way. We are having the worst luck today. Fuck.
Surprise.
God damn it.
I knew it was him. Like deep down in my heart, I knew.
Kind of had to know.
Eli, where are you?
Oh, I'm actually outside the simulator. Welcome to the Misconception verse.
Oh, for fuck's sake. What is the misconception verse?
Thank you, Tom. So, you know how this week's episode is about common misconceptions?
Yeah, well, yeah.
So, this is a simulated universe where all those things are true, right? You can see the Great Wall of China from space, stepping on a crack really breaks your mother's back, and Heath has his drinking under control, all that stuff.
I am an adorable drunk. Thank you. Compliment.
Wait. So now all that stuff is true here?
Yeah, if you guys want to go check out Area 51, they have aliens and everything. I worked really hard on it.
I will be right back.
Okay, well, that was weird.
Up. There he is.
What's he doing?
He's jumping up and down between sidewalk tiles.
Yikes.
Oh, that tracks. Let him have this one.
Fucking monkey killer!
Hello and welcome to Citation Needed, the podcast where we choose a subject, read a single article about it on Wikipedia, and pretend we're experts, because this is the internet, and that's how it works now. I'm Noah, and I'm going to be marshaling us through this myriad of misconceptions, but to do that, I'll need the help of a few people who have been honing their expertise on misconceptions since they were sperm and egg. First up, we've got two men who continue to labor under the illusion that lasagna becomes pizza when you put it in a bread bowl, Tom and Cecil.
Hey, listen, Chicago pizza is like Chicagoans. We might be a bit thicker than the traditional beauty standard, but we are not going to leave you unsatisfied.
The supermodel's knees are way too sharp to bang of pizza jokes.
Yeah, the fact that you have categories for the jokes about how bad your pizza is really convinces me I'm on the wrong track.
Also, you know what? You're right. No, you're right. Pasta on pizza is disgusting. Thank you for saying it. I appreciate it. Thank you. Just let Heath
They're
know.
just both
I'll
delicious
fuck
things.
any
It's
supermodel's
nuts.
knees. That's to be clear.
I'll fuck any pizza with pasta. I don't understand how the game got confusing.
And also joining us tonight, of course, two men who are suffering from the misconception that the human eye just averages out hair on the head and face, Heath and Eli.
Okay, you're going to need to check your Farrah Fawcett-esque locks of privilege, no illusions. How dare you, sir?
You're being mean. Average.
So, no, that's good.
Mean.
That was good. And of course,
Nope.
nope, I was being mean. And of course, before we get to the essay, I want to take a second to thank our patrons and remind you that thinking your dollar won't make a difference is yet another common misconception. If you'd like to learn how to join their ranks, be sure to stick around to the end of the show. And with that out of the way, tell us, Eli, what person, place, thing, concept, phenomenon, or event will we be talking about today?
We'll be talking about common misconceptions.
All right, Cecil, you read the listicle. Are you ready to, well, actually, your way through an episode?
I learned it from watching you.
All right, so tell us, why did you choose this topic, Cecil?
So this week, I want to take a look at a fascinating list on Wikipedia on common misconceptions. The list is enormous and has a lot of different categories of study, and I'll probably, most certainly, come back to it eventually. But today, I'm going to be focusing on the scientific misconceptions. I figured this will be a great opportunity for Noah to tell us he already knew all this stuff, for Eli to declare that Wikipedia is clearly lying, for Tom to take a nap, and for Heath to call this entire list a CIA cover-up, or he's just going to scream fun fact the entire episode, either one.
Fun fact. Interesting. No, it isn't.
I knew you guys were going to do that.
Hey, pipe down. Some of us are trying to sleep.
All right. Okay.
Jesus.
All right.
Rude.
So let's start with astronomy. The Great Wall of China isn't the only man-made structure you can see from space or the moon. In fact, astronauts that visited the moon actually couldn't see a single man-made structure from that distance. And astronauts in orbit can't see the Great Wall without some kind of visual magnification. You can see some man-made structures from space. The greenhouse of Almeria, Spain can be seen. And they're like a cluster of greenhouses of about 100 square miles. You can also see the cooling pond at Chernobyl, which is, again, 6-mile long man-made lake.
I mean, it glows really bright.
Yeah. Things visible from what we would consider space or low Earth orbit need to be at least 2 kilometers in size. So there aren't a lot of things humans have made that are big enough to be detected.
Well, also, as your examples demonstrate, helps a ton if they're super fucking reflective.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, look, I know I just woke up and everything, but isn't like space pretty fucking relative too? I mean, like from most of space, Earth isn't even visible.
Noah mentioned this in a previous episode, but I'll mention it here again. Spacecraft are never in 0G, and you don't experience weightlessness because you left the Earth's atmosphere. People in spacecraft can experience a free fall effect as the ship orbits the Earth. Orbit is essentially the craft falling toward Earth and constantly missing because of the forward momentum. Gravitational fields exist well above large planetary objects. At 250 miles above the Earth, which is about where the International Space Station travels, the gravity is about 90% what it is on Earth.
Yeah, fun fact, you can also experience this feeling during every landing on a United flight. So
The 1989 passengers on United Flight 232 would disagree if they hadn't been passengers on the 1989 United Flight 232. No, it's fine. This has been a long fucking time. It's not possibly
It's not too soon. I mean, it's appropriate now.
Yeah. When we refer to the dark side of the moon, we don't mean that side of the moon never receives any light from the sun. The moon is tidally locked with the Earth, and that means that from the Earth's surface, only one hemisphere of the moon is visible. The other side is what we refer to as the dark side. It was dark, unseen by us, until humans flew up there and looked at it. The moon's surface gets the same amount of light, whether we can see it from Earth or not.
No.
Yeah, and fun fact, when one of those astronauts wanted to watch The Wizard of Oz up there, the rest of them were like, no, that's dumb. Why would anything line up? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, Cecil, you also cannot see the dark side of the moon if you hide under a blanket or squeeze your eyes shut real hard. Makes it go right away.
Here's one I have never heard of. I guess some people think that the seasons of the Earth are caused by part of the planet being closer to the sun. What causes seasons is not axial tilt closer to the sun, but instead axial tilt of the Earth that allows for more sunlight duration on the surface. The fact that the Earth is closest to the sun in January and is furthest from the sun in July, as far as the northern hemisphere is concerned, it's the exact opposite correlation with temperature trends. The closeness to the sun does affect temperatures on the planet, but the effect is minuscule compared to the length of the daylight.
for future generations listening to this, a season used to be this thing where the weather changed like in a good way. You know what? Never mind.
Predictable.
Re-entry into Earth's atmosphere creates a lot of heat on the object. And some people mistakenly attribute this heat generation to friction. But it turns out that's not correct. In fact, the heat is caused by adiabatic compression, which is heat generated when gas compresses. So compression of the air in front of the object re-entering is what causes the heat.
Right. So important note, that is not why the ass of your pants feels warm after a fart. That's a much more pressing situation.
Man, I don't know, Cecil. I agree. Re-entry is hot, but the science talk is kind of killing the mood, you know?
And the compression of gas.
Speak for yourself.
People my whole life have claimed that you can balance an egg on its end, but you had to do it on the correct day during the autumnal and spring equinoxes. Well, that's bullshit. You can do it any day if you're patient enough. There's no special gravitational qualities of a single day. It's just that you didn't give up doing it because you were bored. You thought it was possible, so you kept doing it until it stood on its end.
Okay, fun fact. This is real. I argued exactly what Cecil just said with a high school science teacher until I got suspended, even though I was right.
Arguing? Did he write "boo nerd" on the slip? Like, what's...
The story of NASA commissioning $1 million pen to write in the weightlessness of space is bullshit. The story always mentions that the Americans commissioned a pen at great expense and the Soviets used pencils. Well, it turns out that it did cost $1 million to design and develop the pen. The Fisher Pen Company did develop the pen with their own funding. NASA did also purchase the pen from the company. They bought 400 pens at $6 a pen. And then the Soviet Union also bought some for their Soyuz set of space flights.
Yeah, with a regular pen in orbit, the ink, it keeps falling toward the paper, but missing. So you need a special one.
Well, also, and yes, they knew all about fucking pencils. Pencil lead can float into electronic instruments. That can cause short circuits. That can cause fucking fires. Just go ahead and assume that you're never correcting a goddamn rocket scientist about goddamn rocket science, okay?
Safe bet.
Contrary to popular repetition, Tang, Velcro, and Teflon were not spin-off products from space exploration. Tang was used in space flights, but was available to the public in 1959. Velcro was patented in 1955, inspired by seeds sticking to the inventor's shoes. Teflon also existed well before manned space flight. It has been covering pans since 1954.
Okay, I wrote a bunch of Teflon jokes here, Cecil, but I couldn't get any of them to stick.
Okay.
Glad you said that in. There are some products that have been introduced to the public or have been improved because of space travel. Memory foam, anti-icing technology, a little late for one of the spacecrafts, but anyway, anti-icing technology.
They found that too challenging.
Space blankets, the dustbuster, cochlear implants, nanofiber, water filters, GPS, the list goes on. But those three that are commonly cited are not among them.
All right, well, Cecil just reminded my taste buds about Tang, so I need a minute to vomit uncontrollably. And that means we're going to pause for a little apropos of the thing we've been talking about this whole time.
Gentlemen, our guest today is controversial for sure, but we at the National Aeronautics and Space Administration are dedicated to truth, science, and we are not too proud to put our egos away and learn. Now, are we?
No, thank you, Mr. Director. And thank you all for your humbletude. First, you all may be aware that most aircraft contain an indestructible black box. Well, what I propose to you today is to make the whole plane out of the black box stuff. Yeah, go ahead and take a second with that one.
I'm sorry, are you saying we should make our planes square?
I don't really have time to get into the details. You have the outline. It's right there. Gonna let you run with it. Okay, so item 2, airplane mode. Really, airplane mode? If my cell phone is on, it's gonna crash the plane? Come on. What?
Actually, airplane mode is from when the original cell phones would click on the headsets of the pilots as they would
finally, Boo Nerd. Of course, why would my carry-on be too heavy? I mean, but then I can put it underneath that very same plane? Come on. Done. Check.
It's a different part of the plane. There are different parts.
It's not how any of this works.
Sorry.
Yes, mustache guy. Question?
Much as I appreciate your feedback, can I ask where you draw these conclusions? What university do you work for, maybe?
I went to a little place called the School of Hard Knocks. Maybe you heard of it. New York. Anyway, if you'll excuse me, I have one simple trick to speak to Congress about. Gonna fix the economy entirely, so I gotta head out.
Hey, did anybody else hate that guy?
Like a lot, right?
Yeah, my heart is racing how much I hate him. I'm shaking. Look at me shaking.
Bye, Lunacoin.
And we're back. When we last left off, we were wrong and Cecil was right. Cecil, what else are you righter than the audience about?
This is going to be a good week on Twitter. So, on to some biological misconceptions. There is a myth that
it's actually a pretty good size.
Sorry, it's not under the butt. You don't look under the butt. Okay.
There is a myth that old elephants, when they know they're going to die, head off to some kind of old elephant dying grounds, and that becomes an elephant graveyard. Well, there isn't any proof to back up this claim. There are some theories on how it started. One of them is that during times when it's difficult to find food, older elephants that can't chew more fibrous vegetation just group together where the food is easier to eat.
Yeah, elephant Denny's.
Just a stoned lion pointing at stuff on the menu.
Others suggest that since the tusks are missing in some of the group die-offs, that it might be just hunters looking for ivory and leaving the rest.
Fun fact, old humans do actually gather together when they're ready to die at these special places called anti-lockdown protests. It's actually pretty beautiful.
It is. Lovely to see.
Bulls don't see color the way we do. Bulls are dichromats, so red doesn't look bright to them. So the idea that bulls are enraged by the color red is a myth. Bulls that charge at a red cape of a matador or an anthropomorphic bunny are just perceiving the movement of a cape as a threat. And the color has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, they might also be mad about all the darts full of barbs that got shoved into their body right before this happens. And I don't know, mad at the guy who just stabbed several of his friends to death with a sword. Could be a lot of things. Yeah.
Lemmings will not throw themselves off cliffs in a Heaven's Gate-like group suicide. The concept that lemmings would kill themselves off if the population needed to be rebooted was popularized by a Disney documentary called White Wilderness. The legend itself goes back to the 1800s, but the film depicted and popularized this myth. In fact, the movie was filmed in Alberta, and they had to import all the lemmings to be shot in the film. There was also only a few dozen lemmings shot in the film. They had to use some good editing to make it look like there was like thousands of them. There's also a mention of the crew placing the lemmings on, quote, turntables to create frenzied migration effect and then herding them off a cliff into the water, end quote.
Yeah.
Also, Catcher in the Rye is a stupid title for a bad book.
Okay, but we've got to admit that a metaphor about self-destruction actually being about being murdered by asshole white guys, pretty spot on for humanity, right?
This is true. It's fair.
Phases of the moon have no effect on if wolves howl. Wolves howl for a multitude of reasons. None of them have anything to do with lunar cycles. Wolves also don't have an alpha. Wolf packs operate like human families in a lot of ways. The parents take care of the young wolves, and then the young wolves go off, accumulate crushing college loan debt, and then come back to live in their parents' den. No, but seriously, young wolves do not overthrow old wolves for supremacy of the pack to become the alpha. That's not how it works.
Okay, this is a new one for me. I learned something today. My whole life, I like to imagine a young wolf just locking eyes with the old leader wolf and taking a shit while he stares right at him. I'm the alpha.
So here's the thing, Heath. With wolves, it's bullshit. But it turns out that scientifically, if you identify as an alpha male as a human, you are actually 5 times more likely to die rolling your truck that has a Monster Energy logo on the side.
That's true. It's science.
Probably same stat for staring at people and shitting, if I had to guess.
Bats are not blind, and some have excellent vision. Small bats that are in the microbat family do use echolocation to help navigate, but they can see. Most of the big bats, or the megabats, as well as fruit bats, have excellent vision and can even have excellent night vision. And since we're on the subject of biblical birds, ostriches don't bury their heads in the sand to sleep or to hide from danger. This appears to be a misconception that stems from the work of Pliny the Elder. Quote, ostriches imagine when they have thrust their head or neck into a bush, caliente, that the whole of their body is concealed, end quote. Also, a duck's quack has an echo.
Why would it not?
The weirdest thing about these kind of lists for me is always learning shit like some people thought duck quacks didn't echo.
That's insane.
Fucking what? Why would...
Yeah, you know, I love it when obvious metaphors are so lost on clueless fuckwits that generations of people just take them as truth. And then soon some idiot just thinks like water stops getting hotter if you look at it. Like, yes, hey, right, stop watching that pot of water. We ain't never gonna have dinner. Fuck.
The tail that a frog put into water won't jump out if the water is heated and thus will boil the frog to death is a myth. I have no idea why the Wikipedia article needs to point this out, but it says, quote, that frogs that are dropped into boiling water die.
Oh my God, so does everything.
Bunch of mentally disturbed children are divorced listening to this episode. Citation fucking needed, man.
It goes on to say that frogs that enter cold water that slowly gets heated will leave the water before they reach a damaging temperature. Also, I just want to say boiling a frog is a terrible preparation. You want to fry the legs quickly and then toss it with like a persillade. That's how you serve it.
Absolutely.
Again, metaphor, guys. Like fiddles aren't actually like really good at burpees. And like clams are not known for their particular joviality. Like, what the fuck is wrong with people?
People falsely think that sharks cannot develop cancer, and that is not true. Wikipedia points to a source on this, a book called Sharks Don't Get Cancer.
Oh, there you go. I see where it came from.
It was used as an advertisement for shark cartilage extract to prevent cancer.
Of course it was.
Also, I just want to interject here that just because you ate a thing that never had cancer doesn't mean it makes you immune.
Yeah, right. Apples don't get cancer.
That doesn't even make sense homeopathically, which already doesn't make sense.
Cut to Eli surreptitiously putting away his naked mole rat cartilage supplements or whatever. Yeah. They do also get cancer. It's just super, super rare.
This is a shark smoking cigarettes. I do what I want.
Also, people claim that sharks will attack humans because they resemble seals or sea lions in the water, which is not true. When a shark attacks those creatures, they roll up and lay a huge chomp on them. But when they attack humans, they're actually just trying to test out what the hell is in the water. They like slowly give it a nibble, and it's just that sharks are not designed to nibble.
Okay, I love the idea that sharks just haven't figured out the, sup nod, and that's the problem.
A common misconception is that tomato juice can wash away the smell of skunk spray. This is not the case, and the Wiki article recommends a mixture of, quote, dilute hydrogen peroxide at 3%, baking soda, and dishwashing liquid, end quote. I would also recommend getting a new house, too. That would help.
Yes.
That said, room temperature tomato juice is a great way to get rid of a waiter's respect for you.
That's true. That's true.
Real fast.
Not a common misconception.
I will say, having believed this one myself and having had myself and my two dogs skunked, I can confirm that all washing with tomato juice accomplishes is turning what once was a terrible stench into a terrible stench with red stains.
Yeah.
That's all you get.
Why would it just get rid of the one odor though? Like, why would that be how it works?
Yeah, I admit I should have thought that through, Heath. But I washed two dogs and myself with tomato juice. I'm not going to lie about that.
Like God created pairs of smells and antidotes that all just 1-to-1.
You like cross multiply the smells and it just cuts it right off. Well, since we're sharing, here's one I thought was real, but admittedly, I don't know jack shit about snakes. Snakes do not unhinge their jaw when they swallow the food. There's an extra bone in there that increases mouth gape, caliente, but their jaw also has a ligament that connects them to distend, but then they just stay hinged.
Okay, how would they rehinge it afterwards?
I don't know.
Do
people think anything about snakes?
They think snakes would finish eating and then just like punch themselves in the face to like snap it?
Run into a locker like Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon.
Just slamming their face into the side of a building 3 times. Hold on a second, I gotta get a real line. Earthworms do not turn into 2 separate earthworms when they're cut in half. Most species of earthworm just can't survive that. The ones that can don't become 2 separate earthworms. One side has a mouth and the other doesn't. So when they're cut in half, the side with the mouth lives and the other side dies. Although some flatworms can become 2 worms if they're bisected down the middle, the Wiki article says.
Oh, it's fucking weird that we kept having different worms at different angles until we found one that worked, okay?
What are those divorced kids supposed to do when they grow up?
It is weird, admittedly. Houseflies don't die in 24 hours. Houseflies live for 3 to 4 weeks. This part of the article has this amazing line, though. Quote, the misconception may arise from the confusion with mayflies, which in some species have an adult lifespan of as little as 5 minutes.
Jealous.
End quote.
So jealous.
Also, European bees are not essential to food production, according to this article.
What?
I'm sure many of us have heard about the doom and gloom surrounding the death of bees, and that might be a really bad thing, but it isn't because of their role as food pollinators. Quote, many important crops need no insect pollination at all. The 10 most important crops, accounting for 60% of all human food energy, all fall into this category. End quote.
I hate. Who is pushing this lie then? A bee? Is there a bee with a press agent?
The daddy long-legged spider is not the most venomous spider in the whole world. And if the spider wants to, it can actually break human skin. It causes a few seconds of a burning sensation, so it's not instant death. The legend may come from the fact that these spiders hunt other spiders that are venomous to humans, so people think they just figured that it must pack a hell of a punch. You also don't eat spiders when you sleep. Wikipedia says, quote, a sleeping person makes noises that warn spiders of danger.
And it's, I guess, since it's an entire episode about misconceptions, the pet enemy can't help but point out that daddy long legs aren't actually spiders either. It's also a common misconception among pedants that anyone gives a shit enough to warrant that clarification.
Let's not go that far,
men.
Noah.
I'm really happy we don't eat a bunch of spiders in our life, whatever the number is. That I learned that today too. That's
I am doing a prank war on you. You are going to eat a bunch of spiders.
They have the ones that fly now, Heath, that they just
God damn
dive
it.
off
Why
trees.
are you ruining it?
Balloon
They could go
spiders.
right into your mouth as you breathe in.
What's that? They're coming. I hear them. Chicka-cha, chicka-cha.
Eli tried to make the noise of parachuting. Anything?
Well, that was the noise of parachuting?
That was the spider noise. Yeah, chicka-cha.
Chicka-cha?
No, that is what spiders, that's the noise that spiders make. Chicka-cha.
Thank you.
Female praying mantises rarely kill their mate during reproduction. This is especially untrue when mantises are in a natural environment. They cite a study from the University of Central Arkansas where they watched 45 pairs of mantises bump uglies, and they said, quote, 1 out of 45 times the female ate the male before mating, and the male ate the female with the same frequency, end quote. One study of a particular species of mantis found that, quote, 83% of males escape cannibalism after an encounter with a female. But since multiple matings occur, the probability of a male being eaten increases cumulatively, end quote.
Okay, I want to see the 1 out of 2025 when they finish fucking and both start eating the other one at the same time. It's like, oh my God, you're one of those too. No. Nice. Oh, this is so us, right? All right, same time.
Here's a few plant and geology misconceptions. Poinsettias aren't highly poisonous to cats or people. They can make you sick and give you an upset stomach, causing diarrhea or vomiting, but so will excessive consumption of mango nectar.
Citation needed.
I don't think it is.
Yeah, how's your stomach health?
Bad. There's the citation.
There we go.
They rarely,
There we go.
so they rarely produce serious medical problems in either of the two species. So while I wouldn't go out of my way to chomp on one, I wouldn't treat it like its leaves are basically coated in iocane powder.
Okay, you heard it here, guys. Cecil just said that poinsettias make a delicious tea. That's what he just said.
The claim that the Amazon rainforest contributes to 20% of the world's oxygen into the atmosphere is not true. The oxygen present in our atmosphere has been accumulated there for over billions of years.
Yes.
The 20% figure comes from a misrepresentation of a study from 2010 that showed that 34% of photosynthesis occurred in tropical rainforests. And because of its size, the Amazon rainforest would be over half the rainforests of the world. So that's where the figure comes from. But because of the life that lives in that forest, the net output of that rainforest in oxygen is essentially zero.
You heard it right here, guys. Cecil just said that the rainforests are a waste of space. There's no real purpose in having them at all.
Put up some condos.
You could be the president of Brazil.
Cecil hasn't killed that many guys.
Nobody
Citation
could.
needed.
Glass does not slowly change shape because of gravity. The assertion that glass is highly viscous solid is false, at room temperature, glass is a solid. It takes hundreds of degrees above room temperature for it to flow. The misconception stems from old glass being thicker at the bottom of the pane, but that was caused by an inconsistency in the manufacturing process, not glass flowing over time.
Okay, thank you. Fun fact, I argued exactly what Caesar just said with a high school science teacher until I got suspended. She tried to say it was a super cooled liquid or something. And I was like, no, it has a melting point. If it has a melting point, it's up. I got in trouble for that.
Heath,
also.
if it makes you feel any better, I think at that point, the teacher probably just hated you for being egg balance kid. It didn't really matter what you were talking about.
It's two different teachers.
Didn't want you around.
I got
The one
suspended
did
for
right to nerd.
so much cooler shit than you did, Heath.
I know.
I did drugs and got into fights and shit.
Where did you go? Like folksy wisdom high school? Like what is happening?
Not at all. I was just a nerd at a public school.
Diamonds are formed at 140 kilometers below the surface of the Earth. Coal is formed right below the Earth's surface and unlikely to reach below 3.2 kilometers. So the idea that most diamonds are formed from coal is not true. In fact, most diamonds date to a time before plants existed on Earth. So therefore, they date to a time before there was any coal. And fossil fuel is not really formed from dinosaur fossils. Petroleum is formed when algae and zooplankton die and are buried under the ocean floor. Coal is formed from plants that are buried. Coal can contain dinosaur fossils, but coal is almost all plant matter. And most coal comes from the coal forests, which date back to 50 million years before dinosaurs existed.
All right, so if you had to summarize what you've learned in one sentence, what would it be?
Even after all this vigorous fact checking, I'm still probably not going to fuck a praying mantis.
It's good to always qualify statements like that with a probably. So are you ready for the quiz?
Well, actually,
All right, Cecil. Metaphors are just convenient rhetorical tools that are offered because they clarify or explain complex concepts, and sometimes just because they offer linguistic beauty.
sure.
They might be true, but they are not necessarily factual.
Thank you
Why
for
is this so
clarification.
difficult to understand? A, most people in America read at or below the 5th grade level. B, most people in America don't read. C, it is not difficult to understand. D, but things will get worse anyway.
Jesus Christ. Secret answer E. I'm going to kill myself after this recording.
Yes, that is an excellent plan, and we're doing that together.
Okay, if most people don't read, most people can't read below the 5th grade level.
That's right. No, you're right. A and B cannot both be true. Well done.
Thank you.
Well done.
Got him.
I'm
All
not
right, Cecil.
suspended. Fuck you.
All right, Cecil, which of the following myths about our podcast is actually true? A, Noah's name is a pseudonym and a clever pun. No illusions.
Okay.
B, Heath tried the same thing and failed just spectacularly. Heath and Heathen, right?
playwright, yep.
And okay, I'm not sure what he was going for.
That's what
there.
I just said.
Jesus Christ. I thought we said we weren't going to do this on air. I thought.
C, Tom loves his children.
Okay.
Not all of them.
Or D,
All of them?
you and I.
Can't even get it out.
I'm done. Really,
Do not edit that out, Cecil.
He can't say it.
it's just hard for me not to cry. D, you and I are in fact best friends.
It's A.
It is A.
Excellent. Not B. I did not fail spectacularly. Thank you. I have one more question. Which of the following is my favorite unpopular misconception? A, Donald Trump thought the moon was part of Mars.
No, what? No.
B,
No.
Donald Trump thought he was going to build a border wall in the state of Colorado.
No, he didn't. No.
He did.
No.
C, GOP Congressman Todd Akin thought the uterus could detect lack of consent and boycott a pregnancy accordingly.
I know that
And therefore,
one's
we don't
true.
need Roe v.
Yeah, I
Wade.
know that one's true.
D, Marjorie Taylor Greene thought Gestapo was gazpacho, but most
She did.
recently she also thought Petri dish was peach tree dish.
It's kind of amazing.
You say that's
dish.
most recently, but we record this in advance, so who the fuck
Yeah,
even
literally,
knows?
this is gonna be
Might have a
dated
bunch
as
of
fuck.
knowings. Yes. Or E, Ben Shapiro thinks a wet vagina is a disease.
All right, the last one convinced me. All of the above. Secret answer F.
No, it was just E. No, it actually is all of them. Whatever. I don't care about the format. It's all of them.
Yeah, no, but you know what, Heath, you win anyway because anytime you get a mention that Ben Shapiro thinks a wet vagina is a disease, you make us all winners. So you get to pick next week's essayist.
Excellent. That continues to be true about him for sure. Next week, let's have Noah.
All right. Well, for Cecil, Eli, Heath, and Tom, I'm Noah. Thank you for hanging out with us today. We're going to be back next week, and by then I'll be an expert on something else. Between now and then, you can listen to the fucking archives. God damn it, and you can like it. And if you'd like to help keep this show going, you can make a per-episode donation at patreon.com/citationpod or leave us a 5-star review everywhere you can. And if you'd like to get in touch with us, check out past episodes, connect with us on social media, or check the show notes, be sure to check out citationpod.com.
And that, my friends, is how just 10% of the population voting third party will save democracy in America. So, any questions? Yes, question?
Yeah, the NASA guys gave us a heads up that you were coming, and we're just going to beat you to death with shovels.
Oh, that's not a question.
Yeah, it's more of a statement, I think.